to me, both sides.
And microphones.
Yeah, from his ankle to his knee, both sides.
Yeah,
He was
no
open
thanks.
for, I think they left it open 3 or 4 days before they went in and,
Oh, really?
oh, yeah.
Did they do the tubes or anything?
So
like
we
that?
are
No,
live.
No,
Yeah.
they just, it was so swollen, they
Yeah.
couldn't close it. So they had to wait for the swelling to go down and,
Phone's in the truck.
so he was in he was in like a sling in a bed all wrapped up so it wouldn't get infected.
Yeah.
Then they went back, they thought they might only be able to do one side and have to skin graft the other, but they were able to close it both, so.
Yeah,
It was pretty nasty,
The swelling side, it's crazy too. You look at it wrong and all of a sudden it goes
Yeah.
up like a grapefruit and
yeah.
then.
Are we, oh, sorry.
We are live.
Yeah,
Okay.
we tried to tell you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's all right.
Throw something at me. All right, so,
That's
welcome
on
to
record.
Parks and Rec meeting. We'll open up the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. So, to start off with, do we have any amendments to the agenda? Anything anybody wants to add?
I was hoping to go in a non-public.
Okay,
Yep.
At the end,
all right.
Okay. Noted.
Pull up the right code, can you give us? All right. And we don't have anybody from the public here, except that Kyle is here, Kyle Cleveland, who will be talking about it tonight, but hopefully, once we vote on membership, then your appointment can go forward to the Board of Selectmen. So wave your hand if you want to comment on anything or have thoughts or suggestions, if everybody's okay with that.
No,
Yes.
absolutely. Yeah.
Dave, did you not like the seat over there?
no, I just,
Taking offense, Dave.
no, it just, I was coughing, so I moved over here.
Oh, well, thank you, I appreciate that.
I just wanted to start the meeting off with a couple of just public thanks to folks who did some things for us over the past month since we met. Tim Burgess is the town maintenance person, and he went down and did a tremendous amount of work at Bolton Field. I don't know if anybody's had a chance to get down there, but you can actually walk past the playground, the sandbox. You can sit at the picnic table in the back. He weed whacked all the, where the bricks are that people donated, and really cleaned up the fence a lot. So I just wanted to publicly thank him for doing that. I have
Can
talked,
I just clarify that it was not part of his contract currently, right? I just want to acknowledge.
he was asked to go down and do it.
Yep,
He didn't
okay.
do it outside of work.
Yep.
But he was asked to do it.
Okay.
And I just think he did a great job. I
Awesome.
talked to him, I had run into him here, and he really was enthusiastic about getting that cleaned up, so,
That's great.
yeah. And I did reach out to Naomi about possibly using him for a couple other things that we might need help with, and we'll go through that when we go through the different parks at the end of the meeting.
Perfect.
But he's very nice. Bolton Field cleanup by volunteers in the community. I think they were actually down there 2 different days. Mary Johnson, it's Mary Johnson on Facebook. It's not her real name, but
Yeah.
I'm not going to say
We
it, but
appreciate her very much.
we do. She gathered the community together. I was able to talk with her on the phone. She has children who, they use the park. She doesn't have time to be part of parks, but she has time to organize cleanup efforts like this. And I know the first Sunday it was a little rainy, so they only got a little bit done. They went back this weekend. She did mention that if we got to the point of bark mulch and we needed help, to reach out to her, and she might be able to
Awesome.
rally some folks. So I just wanted to shout out to Mary and all of the community members who went down there on both Sundays. I think that's what we need more of, for really to keep our parks, where we need them to be. And then a shout out to the Lake Horace Homeowner Association. So movie night was a week ago. It was last Friday. I think it was last Friday. Or the two Fridays before. It was, I think it was a great event, and Dave, jump in, he was there also. They did an amazing job to have things for the kids to do while they were waiting for the movie. They had food, they had giveaway items, they had an ice cream truck. I think, all in all, there were 50 people who attended, not 50 cars, but 50 people. And while I think they were a little disappointed in the numbers, I think it was actually great when you look at, the weather was, if you watched the weather, it was gonna downpour. And a lot of people on Facebook were commenting, are you gonna cancel, are you gonna cancel? So I think the weather kept some folks from coming out, but it never really rained. They set the screen up on the beach. It was amazing. It was very clear. You could hear it well. And I really do think that the people who saw the pictures on Facebook and said, oh, are you gonna do it again? I think they could get momentum.
Everyone who was there as they were leaving was asking, when is the next time you're
Yeah.
doing this?
Yeah.
I had some younger
Yeah.
house guests, so we brought a car over and,
Yeah.
it was really, really well put together and everybody who was there enjoyed it, so.
So I suggested to the folks, and Joanne and her husband is the gentleman who was at the walkthrough at Bolton. They did a tremendous amount of work, as did everybody, but, they kind of spearheaded it. I suggested that if they want to come back here at some point for a bit of a recap with us, we welcome that. And if they do want to do it again next year, to come back maybe in April. Now that we know it will go smoothly, I think we can give a quick approval and give them more time to sell tickets.
Yeah, get way ahead of it.
Yeah, because they could use the patriotic celebration. I think we could go maybe speak to the library on their behalf. The library, I think because it was new, really didn't want to help them with the tickets, but I think we could talk to the library a little bit more ourselves and help them with that. I think we recommended maybe they look at pricing a little bit. And the other thing, it was an extremely hot night, and I think we all asked the question, why did we say no swimming, at least up until the normal time that the park would have closed? Would that have brought more people in if they knew they could swim? We don't know, but
It's something to consider next year.
look at, yeah, and the other thing we talked about was, would it be better if you did it at the gazebo field in the center where there was more exposure? So those are things that, if they decide to do it again, they will come to us. I did get a letter or an email from Joanne after all their expenses, and I do think a lot of the families on the lake donated money in their time. They were able to donate back $350 to us, so I will be working with Naomi to look at how we can accept that donation. I think she was a little disappointed, but I'm thrilled, and it just shows what the community can do, so, so big shout out to them.
Yes.
No, people showing up is a success.
Yeah,
You had
Absolutely.
potentially adverse weather, people still showed
Yep.
up, that's a success.
yep,
And they have fun.
and they did, I think they did.
Yeah,
have fun.
everybody who said they went, said they had fun, and there was lots of people saying, wish I had known about it, wish I had been able to go. There seemed to be a lot of enthusiasm about
And
it.
it was a cute movie, so it all
Yes.
worked out well. I don't think I'd seen that movie before, but, all right. Any other comments, Dave or Shelby? I'm sorry, I didn't realize you were there. I guess I didn't see you.
I didn't see you either. I did see Dave.
Anyways, any other thing? No? Okay. So review of minutes. So we have, it was a little bit confusing because not all the minutes are up to date on the website. So let's start with the last month's July minutes. Did folks get a chance to look at them?
Yes.
I'll let you know.
I do have a couple changes, but I'll let you guys go through first.
So I'd like to go first on that real quick. The spelling of my name seems to have gotten confused.
Okay.
somewhere in the mix. So I'm not gonna go through line item, but, it's spelled incorrectly throughout the entire document, and it's just a matter of somewhere in the mix it got confused, so
It's
it
happened to
should,
me before too.
yeah.
Believe it or not.
So it should be Bieler.
So it's right in the beginning. Oh, no,
Nope.
it's not. It's
No.
backwards. Okay. Correct spelling. Okay,
And that's all I had. Everything else looked
okay.
about right.
Shelby, did you have
I
anything?
did not have anything.
Dave or Lisa, anything?
No.
So, the couple of things that I went back and looked at, so we made a motion on, it's line 35 if you had printed it out. Motion was made by you, Matt, to accept the June minutes to correct the attendance. I think that we are gonna need to start actually saying what that is. I did send to, I went back and listened to it. We did state what the issue was, but I think we're gonna need to write it out in the minutes or the notes. So I just wanna make sure that the correction for the, June minutes were that both Shelby and myself were listed as absent, and we were not absent. So I've sent that along to Naomi and asked her to correct that. Then on the meeting date change, the line that reads, and it would be line 42, the park will confirm on being able to meet on the second Tuesday in August. It's not that we will confirm, we did confirm. I think we all confirmed that we are going to the third one, so I'm going to ask to have that the park did confirm being able to meet on oh, wait a minute. Did confirm being able to meet on the second Tuesday in August, and then Chair Purington will inform Town Administrator Bolton that they will move to the third Tuesday of the month, starting in September. So it's just a small change right there. And then, on line 48, under communications with Park, it reads, if people from the community need to get a hold of the committee, they can do so through email. I think that should read, if the people from the community need to get a hold of the community, they should
Do so through.
do so through email at
The committee, yeah.
park@warenewhampshire.org. If we had that in the minutes, I think that would clarify it for
Sure,
folks
that
looking
sounds
at
good.
it.
Yeah.
Are you making those changes to send along, or am I? Do you want me to?
I guess, yeah.
Yeah,
if you-
okay. I can do that.
I mean, I'm following.
Yeah,
you.
no, that's okay. Yeah. On line 59, closing dates for the lake, and we will be talking about this later, but the very last sentence, line 59, that we're going to reopen for Labor Day weekend and close back again and be weekends only until Columbus Day. It should read through Columbus Day, because we're going to be
Oh,
open.
on Columbus Day
yeah,
weekend.
that whole
Okay.
Through
weekend.
Columbus Day. Maybe say through Columbus Day weekend?
Yep, okay.
Okay.
Again, just for
Weekends only.
clarification.
Through Columbus Day weekend. Okay. All right.
And then under bylaws, I think at line 64, it said, it indicates that you, Matt, will speak to the Board of Selectmen about the ex officio role. I think we agreed that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
That it's going to all go in one document, so I'd like to have that removed.
Okay. Because, yeah, we did discuss it, and we were just like, yeah, it's
Yeah,
pretty much.
it's going to
just
go
gonna
through on the
happen.
whole thing.
Yeah. So you want to just,
It's just strike, I'm
Just
going to
strike that
strike that
sentence.
sentence.
okay,
Yeah.
so from the whole sentence, Mr. Beeler will speak to the
Yep.
BOS about the ex officio role, scratched, okay.
And then the last one on line 93, and I did go back and listen to the tape of our meeting. So this section, we're talking about the bark mulch. And then you talked about, Matt, the proper way of fixing up the sandbox. The committee will discuss this at the next meeting. We actually said, what we agreed to was that we would address the slide and address the bark mulch
Yeah.
this year, and address the sandbox in the spring. So I, at that meeting, recommended deferring sandbox to spring and addressing slide and mulch, and all the committee members agreed.
Yep.
So we're not going to be talking about it today,
Yep.
but that should reflect that that will be addressed in the spring.
Okay.
And I think that's all that I had for these. So I think with those changes, if everybody's in agreement,
Yeah.
I'd accept a motion to approve. Anybody want to make a motion?
I make a motion to approve the minutes with the changes as just reviewed.
I'll second that motion.
Okay. So we have a motion on the table from Shelby to move the minutes forwarded, seconded by Matt, with the changes that we just verbally stated. All in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Or to abstain? Motion passes 7. And if we can.
6.
Oh, right,
5.
actually 5.
5, yeah.
Sorry, I didn't count.
I'm not counting right either.
So if we get this back to Naomi, then she'll pass it on to Kirsten, and
Yep.
she'll make the changes.
Okay.
So in going back through, I realized that we approved the minutes from April, when we did the walkthrough we did the walkthrough for Carrington, Bolton, Inus, and tennis courts, but we never approved the minutes to the meeting. And did I send you guys the copy?
To the
I have-
walkthrough?
I have
I
the
gave you
copy
the
of
wrong
that.
one.
No? Is this one?
Yeah, it says site walkthrough. I think those got approved. Let me go back and look again. I was going through so many minutes. Well, I wrote this down. So it's April 14 minutes not approved, so I think it's this set of minutes that you have in front of you that needs approval. If not, we'll bring the other ones back.
Okay. I mean, I did review these and it looks correct.
Looked fine to me, too.
Yeah. I didn't see any spelling errors. I didn't see anything that sounded out of place. So, do you guys want to just take a peek at it, or do you want to just go with, we're good?
I'm good.
You want to take a look at it real quick?
I wasn't there.
To be honest with
so,
you,
I mean,
I really think
I
that-
wouldn't be able
I
to.
think I gave you the wrong set of minutes. I think there were 2 sets of minutes on the 14th. We
Okay.
had the walkthrough, and then did we come here after?
Yeah, we did.
We did.
So these minutes here are the corrected minutes, because this was the one that you amended to make sure it read the Boy Scouts.
Yes, okay.
So I will bring the April minutes, correct April
Okay.
minutes back to the next meeting, which is, I think, what happened the last time. You
Yeah, I
had the
think-
wrong set of April minutes.
That sounds,
All right, so we should
Okay,
be,
so
and
I'll
then
go with
Matt, we'll just need a set of minutes for the walkthrough, very brief, from last month when we did the Bolton Field
Okay.
site walk.
I thought
I think
I sent that out.
Naomi said she didn't. Did it go with your other notes? She said she didn't get them.
It went to the group as the park email. Maybe I didn't get it. I don't have my phone
All
on
right,
me.
could you resend that, and then we'll
Yeah.
put that on the agenda
Yeah,
for
yeah.
next week?
Yeah, because I,
Next
like,
month?
if
remember
I
you
search
commented on it,
minutes.
I think, real
Oh,
quick.
okay.
Like, you were like, yeah, it sounds right, or something like that. It was a very
Okay.
quick response, but yeah, I'll resend
Yeah,
it.
if
No
you
big
could
deal.
resend those.
No, we did.
That'd be great. All right, and then we did talk about this, but just a reminder that we're moving to the third Tuesday, beginning in next month. So
Have we put that on the website?
I think I asked Naomi to, but
Okay.
I will double check
All
to
right.
make sure that it's posted. But after the last meeting, I let her know to do those. She was gonna ask Monique, who takes care of all that, to do that. So that moves us to the bylaws.
So I have printed out the email you sent me with the feedback. I didn't see any other responses.
So maybe we could do, does everybody have a copy with them?
I don't know.
Do we need to get a copy?
I just want to make sure I'm looking at the correct revision.
Version.
Yeah, is it the July 1st?
That's the one I worked off of.
Yeah, it should be the July 1st ones.
Okay.
Can we run in?
Yeah, want me to do that?
Yeah, can you
Yeah.
make, do you need a copy, Shelby? A paper copy?
That would be great.
Okay, so,
Yeah, I don't have a printer at home, so.
If we can get 4?
There's my first, yeah, so
Thank you for making them.
I have notes right here, so. Yeah, these are the ones that I scratched into when we had the meeting.
So while we're waiting for Lisa to come back with them, I believe we got through a fair amount, well, we got through a portion of them.
We got to, so as far as approved in, or reviewed within meeting, we got up to section 5. We stopped at section 5.
Section 5.
Which is members and their duties.
Correct. And then, that was when we said we'll move on with the meeting so we can continue.
Right.
And have everybody review the remainder of the,
So what I'd like to do, is pick up at that section, except for,
yeah,
the membership, which was, I believe, in the beginning.
Yep, section 3.
Because I think we said, let's go away and think about it. I sent you guys some ideas that I'd just like to get your thoughts on. Because then we could actually, hopefully we'll get through all the bylaws and be able to vote on them. But for some reason, if we couldn't, if we could at least get the membership part.
Yes.
Then I can get that to the Board of Selectmen, and then we could get Kyle's appointment to go through.
Yeah.
So,
My recommendation is, we talked about the membership. I think we did establish what we wanted to do, which matches what you sent me.
Right.
And that was the 6 volunteers, 6 regular member volunteers, plus the 1 voting ex officio. And then, I can't remember if we said 3 or 4, I think we said 3 to 4 alternates. Leaving that kind of open, which we're totally within our rights to do that.
right.
I think if we just went ahead and if we want to put it on record, just make the motion, this is what we
Right.
decided to establish, since the bylaws don't exist yet.
Right.
We're just voting, this is it, and then we can forward you to Board of Selectmen and be able to get you appointed.
And what I'd like to be able to say to the Board of Selectmen is, because they will ask about terms, they
Yep.
did when Dave and I went. And so right now Pam is, she expires in 2025, she's there by herself. There isn't another member, so it would be, if we added Kyle to that, then he'd go through his appointment now and get reappointed for the 3-year term next year in 2025.
Okay.
You and Matt were appointed to a 1-year term, but if we extended you to 2026, okay, so that puts 2 people in the next term, and Dave and I were just reappointed to 2027, that would give everybody, we'd have 2 people.
Rotating
every
2-year
2
expiration,
years.
yeah.
And if everybody's okay with that, I'd like to make that recommendation to the board. And then you and Shelby would get reappointed
Next
to
year.
the 2026 term. And that would actually, so you will have been 24, 25, and then go on a 3-year term from there. I think that's the only way we kind of get everybody lined up.
No, I agree. I think that's the best way to go about it.
So, if the group is okay with it before we make the motion, and I agree, Matt, with what you just said, but are we in agreement that within the bylaws, we will put a 6-member commission with an ex officio, all 7 being voting members? We will have a director coordinator, I think we have to talk about what the title is, non-voting, advisory member only, with 3 to 4 alternates. Is everybody good with having it, that, the way the bylaws are?
I agree.
Yes.
Okay, so, I will make a motion to accept the membership portion of the bylaws as we've just stated, which will be Park Committee, or Commission, I apologize, will consist of 6 voting members plus 1 voting ex officio, 1 director/coordinator, and 3 to 4 alternate members. We will rotate the expirations of positions to match a new term 2025, 2 other positions to renew 2026, and the last 2 expiring 2027.
Did we need to state that the director position is non-voting?
I think we probably should to keep it all in.
Okay.
With that being the other member.
With, with the director being a member of the committee, but a non-voting member.
I second that motion.
So we have a motion from Matt for membership with a second from Shelby. Any discussion, questions, concerns? If there being none, then all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed or abstain? Right, passes 5-0.
The ayes have it.
Now that that passed, I do have a question, and that is just, does this get approved by the board first, and then Lisa would no longer be voting? Is that?
Yeah.
Or is it once all the bylaws are passed that, I'm just wondering about the timing
Well-
of that, or,
2 things that I'm hoping tonight, that
Yep.
we get through the bylaws,
okay,
and that I could actually take the whole document.
the whole document, okay, perfect.
And then once they approve it, then yes, I would say
Okay.
yes, because they may choose not to
Not to,
approve that.
right.
So I think until the board approves that.
Okay.
Lisa
Does
the
vote.
role of the director
Yeah.
doesn't change until that would be my take.
I,
until we've
I agree
established
with
these are
that,
the rules.
okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
The whole point of this was just that we could get
Yeah.
our last seat
Yeah.
appointed.
Yes.
That was really the main
Wonderful.
thing.
And-
Okay.
And I do think when Dave and I were at the Board of Selectmen meeting, and when Salem was our rep here a year ago, this is what he was looking for, that's
Okay.
what they were looking for. I'd be very surprised if we got any pushback on the way we've set this up. I think we
Perfect.
did it the way that they wanted us to do it.
Wonderful.
Agree.
Matt, the items, I was looking that I sent you a couple of items that were before the 5. However, I think they were just clarifications of things that we talked about. And just some questions like, once we determine, is it a director role or a coordinator? What's the title? It will need to get incorporated into the bylaws.
Yes, absolutely.
I did check with Naomi to validate that the director coordinator position will continue to report to her versus the commission. She did state that that is the way it should work based on the way the other town departments
yeah.
do. So that's the expectation.
Agreed.
I just wanted to have that clarified so it would be in there
Is it-
correctly.
I just wanna make sure the wording is in there though, because I think, just because we're trying to get this right, that position, the director, yes, does report to Naomi, but acts on behalf of the commission.
I think that's like how I believe that's how I had the wording, if I'm not mistaken.
And I apologize, I did not.
No, that's
No,
all right.
that's valid.
Rendered. a
Well,
little-
I had put in the notes that I sent to Matt, this position needs to be seen as an advisory role but also one in which we can delegate tasks to and hold responsible for completing.
But you mean, they're gonna be the person that's point of contact for.
Yes.
Right.
For,
Right.
why don't we,
Yeah.
it's on that, we'll get to that when we get to the director position. on that.
Correct.
I'm not gonna
Right.
jump us off
I
the
think we
rails.
have to be careful not to put too much in the bylaws because it should be outlined in the job description.
Yes.
So
But
I
I
think
think-
just a high level of what,
Yeah, I think, yeah, just the very specific, that
Yeah.
yeah, they report to the TA,
yep,
but are also an advisor on the commission and are the
Right.
face almost
Right.
of park, I guess.
and then the things that we want operationally should go in the director
Yes.
job description.
Do you want to just call it director? Can we just agree?
Can we
We'll just
check
call it
with
director?
Naomi and see what the other, it feels more like a coordinator position.
Okay.
I, however, have used the director word in order to just throw a little weight when I'm being challenged on
course.
something like somebody not wanting to,
So-
follow rules of the parks.
So here's what I think I sent in an email. The reason I'm leaning actually towards director is when you look at many of the surrounding towns, and I've jumped on a couple of the
That's a good
Southern New Hampshire meetings for Parks and Rec, they are all, most of them are called directors. And if we were someday, if the town of Ware were to say, we want a full-time position, most towns have a full-time Parks and Rec director,
yeah.
not a coordinator. So I was just thinking now would be the time. It's not even
Yeah.
for throwing around weight, it's more of aligning with, if we said, hey, our director's gonna participate in the Southern New Hampshire conference calls,
With
it
the
just kind of
directors, yeah.
aligns you with the other,
Yeah.
that role with the other
Yeah,
directors.
it was something that Karen had said, was she was the one who had used the word coordinator, so then it became this,
Right.
yeah.
My research and I had done the same thing. I'd gone to different sites. Coordinators were usually on full volunteer and directors were paid employees. So I feel it's befitting of the job is to be called director. It's a paid job. So I think director is the appropriate way to go
So
with it.
are we all in agreement? So as we talk about the job description, we will be addressing it that way? Be good.
Director
I'm in
of
agreement.
park.
Director.
And then you can make that the
Yep.
title in the
Yep.
bylaws. Right.
All right. Let's see. I had some notes on just the things you brought up, if you just want to go through those.
Yeah, so
or-
I had just, so on, if we're starting at V, membership and their duties, just a reminder that we just need to change that to the third Tuesday.
Yes, I have a note on that.
You probably already have it, but so that it would be on there.
Mm-hmm.
And then V1A.
I'm sorry, where, I guess I should-
Section 6A, meetings.
Oh, okay, I thought we were still on
No,
section
but
5.
Even on V1,
Excuse me.
for
Section
some reason I
5.
had that in section 5A. Do we need to clarify in there that,
I don't have anything about what the date
oh,
was.
you know what, I'm sorry, I'm one section ahead of you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, on the email, you did say 6A, so.
Yeah, you know what, I had no changes for V, I'm
Okay.
sorry.
No.
I had no changes. Did anybody else have any changes for 5, section 5?
The only thing is on going back to 4 under C, we need to change all the coordinators and directors.
Yes.
Because C1, you have it in 1, you
Yeah.
have it in 2, you have it in 3,
Yeah.
you have it in 4. All of it needs to be changed.
Yeah.
To be consistent with the director.
Yeah, I will go through the entire document and change it to director instead of coordinator. All right, so are we all good on section 5, members and duties?
Yep.
Okay, so section 6A, I'm going to mark that correction on the meetings from second Tuesday to third Tuesday.
So, I just, if that's part of our bylaws, then we can't make a change like we just did. So I'm thinking we need to be more vague within our
About?
bylaws about
The meeting
what,
time.
the
what
meeting.
day we're
and
meeting.
time.
Agree.
That's actually a really
Because,
good
So do
point.
you wanna
yeah,
just-
because otherwise we're bound by that
Okay.
if it's part of our bylaws.
So right now, we got it saying, regular meetings shall be held at least once monthly and shall be open to the public.
And
So we can just scratch
we
that
just,
line.
that's, yeah, we leave it at that.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with you, good
Yep.
point, actually.
All right, so I will scratch that line, speaking of date and time.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, done.
Okay.
All right, next was, A1, quorum requirement.
So I just had a question on that.
Yep.
So what constitutes, so a majority of the current regular membership, so that's not the alternates. So let's say, so when do we pull the alternates in?
According
that's
to
what-
Robert's rules,
Okay,
alternates are to attend meetings, just like regular members. They just don't have a chair at the table, basically, right? The chairman would say, okay, Pam can't be here. Alternate A, can you sit in that seat? Not replacing Pam permanently,
Yeah.
just for the meeting. Because they're supposed to be attending all the meetings, they should be up to date on everything. At that point, they become, they've always been a voting member. You're just saying, we have an empty seat, I need
Now you're
somebody here. Now
Then-
you're an active member.
Then it needs to say a majority of the current
so.
membership,
That's not
rather
how
than
the
regular
so-
membership.
So I
That's
That's not
want,
how the other boards are.
That is
So I-
not how they would do
right,
it.
so I want to just be the devil's advocate for
Sure.
a minute. I have, Pam's not here, we have 3 alternates sitting there, we've got a hot topic going on. And the vote could be close. I, as the chair, might say, I know one of the alternates that might vote the way I want them to vote. Would we, so why would we even ask them to do that? I could see if, say, Pam said, I will be away for 3 to 4 months, like I was in the wintertime. You alternate, come in and sit for 3 to 4 months. Either that, or as a commission, we agree which alternate. So I'm just trying to protect
No,
the integrity
yeah, I absolutely, yeah.
of the commission. If we had somebody, if Pam was missing one night,
Mm-hmm.
would we even ask an alternate to sit there?
We are supposed to.
If an alternate comes.
If an alternate comes, yeah.
But what happens, I'm just gonna, only because I've sat on other boards, so I know what happens. Hey, get a phone call, hey Lisa, and this has happened to me before, several times. We are short somebody tonight, can you please come in?
It's
So we
supposed,
can have a
so,
quorum.
yeah, so it's supposed to be whoever shows. And, I mean, if we show up and, you know, there's not a quorum of regular members and alternates, like, if we can't come to a quorum, we can't come to a quorum.
But what if you can come to a quorum, like we are
Yep.
tonight? We're down one member, but we have a quorum.
We're down 2.
We're down two.
Well,
We're down 2.
We're down two. We're
We
down
have
our,
the ex officio who's a voting member.
And Pam.
Pam. So
Right, but we
technically
wouldn't-
now 2 voting members.
right, but we wouldn't take an alternate and have them fill the ex officios.
Cause we already have a quorum.
no, you would.
So they would also fill the ex officios absent
Whenever you
spot?
have no, not the ex officio, because that's a,
That's what I'm
that's a
saying.
Which
separate
now would make it a
slot.
tie.
They would fill Pam's.
They
We
would fill
fill
Pam's.
Pam's
Then there's a
only.
potential
Yeah,
So even though right now we have a quorum.
Yep.
If we had the alternates, we would ask one of them to come sit and be a voting member for the night, for that meeting.
that is your choice, that is the chairman's option to use their alternates.
Okay,
But they do have full voting rights, and the whole idea
When they're
is just so
sitting at
you
the table.
have,
Yeah.
yeah, you just have somebody who can sit at the table and vote.
okay,
Yes, there is devil's advocate, absolutely 100%.
okay,
It does happen.
all right,
But the whole commission also has the option to be like,
yeah.
hold on,
Yeah.
you know, we can do this simple, pull straws, whatever,
Well, and if you only
like,
have one of your alternates. show up,
Exactly, you
that's the
kinda
person.
have to
Or if-
go.
Or if you have all 3 of them show up, but one of them's been coming to every single meeting, they're the
Yes.
first one to poll, right?
yes. So it's all also, you know, reading the room, reading the situation.
And if we
I-
did have a vacancy, a 3 to 4 month vacancy, the goal would be to pick one alternate and have
Offer-
them be consistent.
Yes.
All four,
Offer the alternate to become a regular member.
for a 4 month period or
Yes.
whatever.
Or
Okay.
for whatever, you know.
Okay,
I also feel like our bylaws are stating what the agenda of our membership needs to be in terms of viewpoint in favor of townspeople, and in favor of parks for the benefit of the members of the town. And so I would like to think that anyone who is a member or an alternate is going to be putting themselves in that viewpoint, and that any of our members, alternates, whatever, would be speaking, voting according to that.
all right, I just,
Yeah.
good
Of course,
discussion.
But yeah, no, and,
course.
and,
Work it out
yeah.
in my mind.
And I think, and, yeah.
Of course.
All right,
It-
sounds
yeah.
good.
Okay.
You
Perfect.
wanna have it as like a two-person thing, that both, you know, the chair and the vice chair both have to agree, so that way. you
We can
have-
put that
That
in.
would be a good idea, actually,
So
Dave.
that way
Okay.
you have, so if I say, I know that person's gonna vote your way, but I want to vote
Yep.
my way, so we're gonna change it, so I
Okay.
would just say, you both have to agree.
Chair and vice chair agree.
Okay, so bear with me
yeah.
1 second, because that's under voting. So let me make a note under voting about that.
No, it's under appointing.
But we would never, we would not take an alternate and sit them in the ex
Why don't you
officios.
just draw a name out of a hat? If there's 3 people sitting there,
I mean, we can do it however we want, honestly,
it's a
yeah.
random
We can
pick.
absolutely, do however we want at the moment. I don't think we need to establish in the
No.
bylaws.
I think, I mean, you would hope that the chair and vice chair would look to the committee and say,
Yeah.
are we all comfortable asking this alternate to
Yeah,
come to the table?
See how we, in my 6 years plus, who I don't think we've ever had.
we've never even had an alternate.
yeah, I was just
We've
saying.
never even had an alternate, because we've never had enough members.
Okay,
We're gonna change that. All right.
I just lost everything we talked about. Yeah, so ex officio cannot be replaced with an alternate.
Okay.
Alternates should be approved by chair and vice chair. Does that sound good?
Yep.
And that'll be under voting. I'll make that a definition. And we will get to that next thing in the voting. Just a second. Okay, so that is A1. Okay. So now, section 6,
Uh,
A6,
Oh, yeah.
voting. Okay.
I just wondered why you specifically, is there a statute that the chair cannot make a motion?
There is nothing I can find that says the chair cannot make a motion. However, that was pulled almost verbatim from where Conservation Commissions, and that's where how that line got in there.
Yeah.
If you go into Robert's Rules, there's a whole lot of there's nothing saying the chair cannot make a motion. The rules are basically recommend that the chair let the other members do stuff because the chair is presiding over the vote. But the chair can make motions. So that can be completely scratched.
I just think you're kind of pigeonhole, we're getting sort of backed into a corner.
Yes.
I think if we work off the common rules, it's like when we've said before, I'm gonna pick on the ex officio, but there are certain times that they may choose to abstain. You know, it's not written they have to, but you use your common sense. I would just, I don't know.
No, I think totally scratch it.
I'd
Like I
like to
said,
see
I
that
just
out.
pulled
Yeah.
it right out.
Okay.
I can only assume there was a situation and they put it in there for a reason because it was bold typed in there. So I can only
weird.
assume there was a reason.
Okay,
And then I have section 6, 7, B, Bravo, the question about work sessions having votes.
Do we, are work sessions a meeting at which we can vote?
Yes,
They are, okay.
But when we do that,
we just have
yeah,
to,
when we do the work sessions, though, we always post ahead of time that we're
we
gonna
have to,
Yeah,
Okay.
so we're, yeah.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So we can make votes?
Yep,
Okay, I just
absolutely.
want to make sure.
Yep, absolutely.
Sorry, I'm not, because we've made a distinction between regular member and alternate member, I'm still not following. So the alternates vote, but they can't constitute part of the quorum? I
No,
just
no,
want to
they
make sure.
can. When they're assigned, when they've been asked to sit at the table, then they are a voting member of the
So
commission
then
at that
we
meeting.
need to say the number that constitutes a quorum, because if we say regular membership, that's not, that can be read
Either way.
as that the alternate member can't constitute a quorum. Which,
Wouldn't 5 members be a quorum in a space where you have 7 voting members?
Or,
Four. You need a minimum of 4.
Okay.
so then I think we need to
State that?
state that.
And I think
Because
it's,
we can't, can't say a majority of the current regular membership.
I think that's a good
It can say,
point.
yeah, it can say, the number constituting the majority of the current regular membership. So
Well,
that if
no,
our
see,
regular
the-
membership is ever not 7.
That's exactly, it has to be a
Okay.
majority. It
So
just has
then,
to be a majority.
so then
of
it has to
current
say,
A majority of the current membership, scratch regular, of the park shall constitute a quorum necessary in order to transact business.
yeah,
Yeah?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, because if you say 4 and all of a sudden you guys are, we end up at 5, just
Yeah.
2 people.
Yeah,
leave,
yeah, exactly. Then you're 3-2.
two people
It's-
Right,
leave
right.
Or whatever, then you pigeonhole yourself and you can't go there.
Yep, agreed.
okay.
Okay. So the work session thing, we absolutely can vote at work sessions, we just have to record it
Okay.
appropriately and file it. And everything else, I think looks good. Yes?
I think I didn't have any others on anything else. Those are my only,
Okay, so, in the next 2 weeks, I will have this typed up and sent out for final approval.
yes, is
Via
that,
email?
yeah, is that what everybody wants to do? To have, look at the final typed up version and then vote on it?
Yes.
Okay, so that will be top of the agenda for September's meeting, but we will move forward with the membership
Yes.
in advancing Kyle.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's,
Thank you,
yes,
Matt, for your work on this.
of course.
thank you very
And thank you guys for supporting me with it.
So if you do have any, when Matt sends it out, if you do have any questions, concerns, see typos, try to get them to him, because what I'd like to do, September's meeting, is to come and say, have you all read the final draft? Any questions? If not, we're gonna take a vote on
Yeah.
it.
And we can
Does that
take it to
work?
Board of Selectmen
Yeah.
ASAP, so.
Can you put asterisks or something that's like capitalized in the, sometimes if my life is very busy and there are 20 emails
Sure.
in a day, I have to know how to,
All right, let's just, how do you want to establish that?
Prioritize that.
Just put important, please read.
I usually delete those immediately.
There's a high importance button in the email.
Yeah, you can flag it.
Yeah.
You can flag
The thing
it.
is, if we have an alternate in place of a true member, then if the true member comes in, the true member can't vote until that alternate
Correct,
spots back up.
correct. Well, no, it's only for the meeting.
The one meeting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but if they come, if they sit in my spot, and
Yes.
I come in
Late.
half an hour late,
Yep.
whatever agenda item we're on that they're voting on, I can't vote on.
Correct,
And then they step out and I step in.
They
So-
can, yeah. And again,
Yes.
that's up to the member who was late or missing and the chair at the time.
I
That's.
think we,
Yeah.
yeah.
But you, yes,
Chair and vice
yes.
chair would
You-
make that
I just
decision.
don't need to put that in there.
no. That is proper procedures, yes. That's
Okay.
just standard. All right, I
All
will
right.
flag the email.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
So the next item on the agenda is the job description for the director. I had put it on the agenda because we haven't really seen one. I mean, we saw
started
it,
one.
We have two.
Yeah,
I mean, we've seen it, but we
but
haven't.
we haven't finished. it.
Nobody sent a draft out to say, here's the working document to sit here and discuss. And I do think that's the next high urgent thing we need to get done. But I wasn't clear who's working, are you working?
I started working on it, and then there is another one that the town had that you had a copy of.
Yep.
We haven't merged the two.
So can we make that a priority for September? To get
I
that-
can take it if you want, and then you can approve.
That'd be great.
I will
Because
look-
I'm in the middle of since I started working on it, I've had a job change.
Okay.
And so I don't have my laptop anymore for
Okay.
my old job, and my new job is not quite started yet, so.
All right, so yeah, I will attack that. I will merge them together, and then I will distribute that as well for approval.
Because I'd like to do the same thing to the degree that we could read it beforehand, get our comments to Matt. It makes it more efficient here at the meeting.
does.
To just be able
Absolutely.
to whip
Agreed.
through it.
Well, I think part of the thing we need to do in that is any raises that the town approves or anything else like that, that gets put under the gets put into, factored into the director's piece or
Absolutely.
somewhere.
It never has been.
I know.
I'm working on the same salary that Karen was on for years.
Yeah, no, I
Right,
saw
no,
that.
that's
Yeah,
why
that
I'm
has
saying
never
is if the town all of a sudden says, hey, we're giving everybody a dollar an hour raise, then we gotta go, okay, we constitute that this is,
The hourly
we say
whatever.
we say the director position, we estimate it's gonna be
Yeah, when everybody else
500
gets
or
a
1,000 out, 1,000
2% or 3%
Yep.
raise for years, for the last 10 or 15
Yep.
years, this director position has not gotten anything.
So if I,
So we need to put something in there that they would get something
Yes.
as part of that bucket of raises.
Yeah.
I think that might be a vote, though. I'm not sure.
for what?
I don't know how that works, where that number came from.
That's current? That's ages old, like
Yeah.
you said.
I have no
My
idea.
research into that is just ages old. I was going to ask, when we finalize the job description, two things. One, can we vote to request that it get at least modernized to current inflation rate standard? And then second, like you said, that it be matched with other raises within the town of Ware's
Right.
budgets. But I figured we would address that after the job description
Yeah.
issue. But it is something that I am
When,
thinking
as
about.
you're tackling that, a couple other just quick feedback, and Lisa's brought this up in the past, I think we should put it in the job description because it will go to the board, but something addressing the director's role at Chase Park, whether that be during the summer, they will put in X number of hours or whatever that may be, but so that the director position is intricately knowledgeable of what goes on at the lake. I mean, you know.
Yeah, the reason for that is when I first started, the director had no, and Karen was great, when I was on the board, but she didn't know the day-to-day workings. And so then I hadn't been at the lake since I'd been a teenager, so I said, look, I wanna work a couple hours a week. And originally, that was a great idea, and everybody was fine with it, so I worked at a rate less than what the supervisor was making at the time. Just a couple hours a week, so that I could train somebody, so if something happened to Kristen, there's somebody who could step in and train. And then the next select board said, oh no, that's a double dipping. And it's like, it's not double dipping, Karen
Well,
never worked.
Sure,
It
so
needs to be
I
fixed.
think going forward, think about how you could address that, and/or if our supervisor at the lake, you know,
She's-
hasn't had or sick, or just needs some time off, we have a director position that can step into that. And then I would also like to really look at, maybe how we, if the job description distributes some of the hours, like, are the hours more intense in the summer, spring, summer, fall versus the winter?
I was gonna say that.
You know, is there a way to address how that's spread out? Because obviously, when spring comes, it's getting the sprinkler systems ready to go, and there's a lot more time spent in those times, so just give that some thought about, you know, is there a way to address
That
that?
hours should be tracked somehow, honestly.
Okay,
So the director should
I will
be
do research on that.
Tracking the hours
Yep.
and then reporting those hours to the board.
That might be something that needs to be brought up to the town though, because we're changing the job description, but we also need to see what the town's gonna say about,
Yeah.
are we gonna go to hourly or are we gonna remain as
Well,
a?
I just think that it's
So-
good for your research, though, to know.
Of course,
I'm not looking for us to go to hourly. No, I don't think anywhere in the job description it says approximately how many hours this position
Yeah.
should be putting
I
in.
have to bring something up. There is a law going into effect in January that if a person is paid under a certain amount, they cannot be a salaried position. They have to be considered hourly. So the town may also need to be looking at that, and I don't have it in front of me, but it's something that in my job, in my HR role at my current company, we are looking at having to bump someone up for them to stay at salary, so.
I'm guessing that this will end up going to this town's legal, who does HR.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I just think when you look at it,
I have a
if we were
feeling.
to, you know, go out and say, okay,
go
Lisa,
hourly.
our expectation is you're putting in X hours, the job description doesn't say that.
right.
No.
that's
So-
correct, yeah, it does not.
Yeah.
And just the little things that we might expect on a weekly basis, you know, bills are checked or every other week or whatever that might
Yep.
be. So I think as we look at that, all right, so that will be an agenda item for September, but I just brought it up for that.
I will have that ready by September.
Okay.
I cannot say 2 weeks on that one, but
Okay.
by September.
All right. So budget review, I think we all got the email, but I believe our revolving account is around $34,000 with the lake revenue that's been going in there. And that will continue to grow through the rest of the season. I did pull some bills out just to
Yeah.
go through them and.
There's some duplicates in here, just so you're aware.
Okay,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
and I did look at that. So a couple of things that you had asked me. The first thing that I think, I want to go through this here. The telephone bill. So we asked last meeting why it was so high. I think Dave pointed out that internet was needed during the summer, and that's exactly why it was turned on at the beginning of the season, and it can be turned down after Columbus Day, and then it will drop back down to that $16 or $23 rate. So we're gonna see it at that rate through the rest of the year. However, I just want everybody to know, so I kind of did a calculation. If we're billed this amount, $132.83 for September, I believe this bill here is the July.
Yeah.
So there'll be August, September, October. And then if we dropped down to the normal rate, we're gonna probably have a negative $200. We're gonna go $200. And again, we have to remember that this is a default budget.
Yeah.
So what we had budgeted, and we'll talk about this a little bit, we'll have room in other line items, but just so everybody knows, we'll have to do our due diligence to make sure as soon as Columbus Day hits, I'll let Beth know to please have that turned off
Yeah,
going
and
forward.
normally that would be something I would do, but they won't talk to me. They will only talk to Beth.
Yeah, that's where we're at with the telephone. I think everybody saw the email, or hopefully, I missed it actually in July, and Beth asked me again in August, but we've had a electricity bill jump in July and August, and it's specifically at Inison Field. I talked to Lisa today, and what I did is I kind of went backwards. So pretty much all last year, the pump was broken, it was a very rainy season, we didn't irrigate at all. So
no power.
power use was way down. By the way, we have 3 meters at Inison Field that we're being billed for. We found 2 of them. The Public Service is giving us a poll number for the 4th one. The other two boxes are fairly small. It's the one that's on the pump house that is where the large bill comes. So then we start the season, the pump gets fixed, then it quickly gets hit by lightning, so not working, gets fixed, field's in tough shape, pretty burnt like everybody else's lawn is. We start irrigating twice a day, boom. We think that that's what the issue is. I stopped there today, the field looks great, in my opinion, it's very green, I think the recent rain has helped too. So I've asked Lisa to call the irrigation company to shut one of the, it go to just once a day. And then the question I would have is, when do we stop irrigation altogether?
So at the end of the season, they shut everything down, so I did contact them, and they are
Yeah.
gonna shut it down to just one. I had actually talked to them a couple weeks ago
Yeah.
about how much further we would need
Right.
it to be on to, because it interferes with
Yeah.
somebody practicing. So we usually shut down, I think, the end of September, beginning of October, depending on the weather.
So
Because they have to clear lines up
I-
for
The
everything.
other thing I think we need to also check on is making sure that in those other two buildings, that there's no old refrigerator just sitting there plugged in.
Yeah, is there anything running?
It's
Well-
just sitting in there and just running for the
And
sake of running, and if they are, we need to unplug them and say.
And on that note, we don't have access to the WAC snack shack. We can only enter the building at 2 spots, and they have that locked off. So, which it shouldn't happen. We should be able,
So-
Parks and Rec should be able to get into that section
Before,
too.
before what I think, it will know if we go, if we drop down to once a month, we're gonna see it. If we see a drop, then we're on the right track. Prior to that, our bill every month has been for Inison $16. So if by turning down the irrigation to once a day, we don't see it come down,
Then we know.
then we have to start looking at what is the next thing causing this. But if you really go backwards, it all aligns when we got that pump fixed after the lightning strike and went to twice a day, the bill jumped up. And the reason it looks higher than last year is because we never irrigated at all last year,
Yeah.
because it was so rainy and the pump was broken.
Oh, yeah, we had no irrigation
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have about half of our electric bill, we spent about half of the electric bill. If we can slow this down, I think we'll be okay and be right around where we would be for the electric bill. So we're kind of working on
I
that.
mean, I know Chase Park, we have to leave the radio tower plugged in all, everything else gets shut off. We shut off inside the,
So Parks and Rec pays that police radio tower bill all winter.
yeah, every single we pay that. We pay for that bill, but it's not ours, but we have to leave it plugged
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
But that, the refrigerator and all the other stuff gets unplugged.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
I think we may wanna do is lock the, the outside box at, Chase. 'Cause I know people turn stuff on, granted, it's turned off inside, so the well pump, even though it's turned off on the outside, they want somebody, it's turned off in 2 places, so it can't keep running.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Because we don't want them all of a sudden recharging the lines
Yeah.
inside.
All right, so we did get a series of bills from the recycling company. Lisa mentioned, so the bills aren't completely accurate because the statements came out before the town paid.
Yeah.
So the,
And that,
so I was able to trace back the actual amount, but the bill for, the current bill is gonna be $749.
For what, 3 months?
No, for 1 month. Yeah,
so
it's,
I found a hold on a second. So I have, there was a duplicate for Chase Park, so the total for Chase Park, and it's from a prior balance, so if this is what's on here, are you talking about
Yeah,
this prior balance?
so that's-
They didn't
yeah,
charge
that's
us
a
to flip
duplicate.
that
Yeah.
dumpster back over, did they?
no, so Chase, I'll go through this for you guys.
So it should just be 260?
We paid $260 a month at
Yep.
Chase Park.
Yep.
for a dumpster. At Bolton, we pay $165.
Yep.
It looks like we owe more, but it's,
We don't
you can see that it's been taken out. And at Purington Field, we pay $64 for that dumpster a month. Again, it looks like there's a balance, but
Yeah.
that's been paid.
Yep.
So, and then I'm missing
Is there
one.
a full-size dumpster down at Bolton?
I have them on that, the one at Bolton is a 4-yard, and I have them, I believe, doing that every other week. And then I suspended, we had to pick Purington back up because it's gonna be soccer season. But they do that once a week, I believe, at Purington. We're down as low as we can.
Okay.
I'm
For what-
sorry, I
Well,
think
I
I
mean,
said
just because
751,
Purington,
it was
it
more than
really-
1 month.
I mean, if we
Okay.
go to the smaller dumpsters, that we like, obviously the half of the size of the one.
That's tiny at Purington.
Yeah,
So,
so half the size of, basically, the only one that we should have a big one at is Chase.
Sure.
Well, we have one at Bolton because during football and soccer season, we need it.
Yeah,
And we have it only every other week, and not every week during the summer or anything. We have it emptied less often.
yeah, and we haven't had anybody add trash this year.
so the line item in the budget for rubbish removal, and again, part of this has to do with the default budget, but it was $5,000.
Yep.
We still right now have 4,100 left in that budget. We do have an outstanding bill of $749, but that's multiple months because we're running behind invoices, but it'll be close. I tried to calculate it out. It'll be close, so same thing, when the parks close down, the sooner we get those removed, the better. But just so everybody is aware of what we're paying at each park per month for trash.
But we're as minimal as we can get pretty much
Yeah.
at this point.
Yeah.
Well, usually the Columbus Day, I go over and let them in for the last dump, the Tuesday after Columbus, and then I basically tell them we're done.
Yeah,
Yeah,
And
that's it.
yeah, we're done for winter.
we're done for winter.
The next line item, outside services, so we had the porta potty statement came in, and again, you have to be careful when you look at it, because it's not reflective of the payments made, but right now we have a current amount due, I think, of $751.50. If we look at what is to
I was
be
gonna ask
paid.
you about that because it's very confusing on this. on these.
So I went through it, the first, if you look at it,
No, I know, I've
Yeah.
got duplicates and I've tied
Paid-
them together.
you can go back and see where Beth has
Yeah.
made the payments. So when you subtract all the payments made, it's $751.50. The invoice date, though, is June 30th. So they're running behind
They're
on their
behind, too,
statement
yeah.
dates.
Yeah, they are.
And that's another one where, again, it will be close by the end of the year. We'll just have to watch it closely, charging this against the outside services, which I believe is where this is being charged. That's line item 590.
Yep.
So we want to keep an eye on those. We had a bill from Roto-Rooter because we had a plug at the lake. So the bill was $530 for them to come up and take care of that. And so we need to just make a motion to, well, not really to make a motion to pay this, but to determine what line item to take it out of. I'm gonna recommend that we take it from 682, park maintenance, only because we still have about 60% of that line item left. It would probably be a better place to hit it than some of the other ones, if everybody's okay.
I think it's
Yes.
appropriate.
Okay, so can you go ahead and let
That's right.
Beth know to pay it from that line item? it was unfortunate, but we had a backed up septic
That's
system.
actually way better than, last time we had a problem, it was $800.
I mean, it happens, there's not really much we can do about it.
And then there are a
And
few,
I tried to get it unplugged, and so did the town guy and I, we both worked on it for like.
Kristen called me, and she's like, listen, you gotta get my husband out of there.
Oh, my gosh,
Oh, no.
yeah.
and there are a couple of invoices from Country 3, but one of them is the paint and paintbrush we
Yeah.
approved at the last
Yep.
meeting.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then wasp spray.
Yep.
So it's
yeah.
not real huge. Again, I would recommend we take that out of 682.
Where did we
Part-
vote to take it out of?
Did we vote to take it out of a
I think we-
specific one?
I think we did.
Yeah.
Hold on.
It would be in the June, I mean the July.
I thought we said to take it out of supplies, but I could be wrong.
That was purchase paint.
I think that the,
That was
$100.
purchase windows, yeah,
you-
$100.
So it just said motion made to spend no more than $100 on paint and supplies for Chase Park. We never said where it would come from.
Oh, okay.
We did get 2 more cans, so it's gonna be
I can't believe I
slightly,
didn't say
it'll
that.
be slightly over the
If we
100.
did, it didn't get recorded.
Okay.
So I
All right,
think
so
we
yeah,
can,
we'll just go,
so
yeah.
that
Yeah.
can go out of park maintenance, right?
yeah, so let's do it out of park maintenance
Okay.
for now. So as I look over the budget, again, I think the areas that we need to be concerned about and keep an eye on, the telephone. The park repairs, we're down to only $209 left there. Park supplies were over budget,
Yeah.
and Chase Park supplies were over budget. The good news is, we are a bottom line budget, so we'll just watch. We haven't taken any money from recreation or water safety. That's $6,000 right there. And again, just as Beth reminded us, that some of these things are what they are because even though we upped them for the cost of electricity going up and those things, because we're on a default budget, we didn't really get what we asked for,
Yeah.
so. The good news is we have 5 months left in the year. We have 59% of our budget left, but I do think we just have to be careful.
Yep.
I think the good news, if we jump over to, just real quick, because it's part of the budget, and I think it's the next item, Chase Park. Kristen has done a really good job with the hours this summer. I went through and recalculated again, so for this,
Your
For-
receipt towels.
from the time that we were here last until, I'm looking at the one that says receipt tally, I'm sorry, the one that says time tracking.
Okay.
If you look at, so at the last meeting, we had looked at everything up till July 4th. So from the 11th to August 1st, we are 303 hours less than we were a year ago.
Awesome.
And I think I calculated it, I think in total, if you add the two together, we are close to 777 hours less for the season
Okay.
than we were last year. So if you look at the budget, we're tracking really well on wages, considering we have the rest of August, and then September's gonna drop down to weekends into October. So we're in a much better position budget-wise than we were last year, when by this time we were running over budget. So I think we're doing well there, which will help us as we try to manage to the bottom line.
No, I think they're doing a really good job out there.
Yeah.
actually.
And,
A little bit of-
and just as far as receipts go, so we got a copy of the receipts through August 8th. I took a look, I went back and compared 2023. We are we're on residents, seniors, and veterans, we're right now at where we were last year, so if we get any more, we'll be above that. We are slightly above on resident boat and ski passes, and we are slightly above on non-resident parking. So that's good. We're a little bit below on resident day passes in car season passes, but, again, the season's not over. So, we'll see how we're doing. We're about 97, if you total the number of tickets we've sold, we're 97 less than we were at the end of the season last year. So we're pretty close. It was, it's been a hot summer, so hopefully we'll finish strong. Any questions on that? Nope. So that's kind of the budget. Any other questions on the budget stuff? No.
Nope,
All right, moving along.
thank you for that.
So we're moving on to the park updates. Chase Park, we already talked about movie nights, so we don't have to do that. I did have a brief conversation with Kristen about water testing, because there were some things coming back and forth on social media and stuff. What I would like to recommend that we maybe look at and work on over the winter is that we put a policy and process together for water testing in 2025. I think that after COVID, it fell off, and I do think, just for the sake of our customers, Kristen mentioned that she recommends we do one test in July, one test in August, just to keep up with it. So I think if we can just put a procedure for that, that way we have it for the opening season next year.
Do we know what the state's,
Yeah, the state stopped
What's-
testing it.
the state
So-
stopped,
so
it's a
when-
state
so when-
reservoir?
When COVID happened, they stopped testing it, so then we were testing it for a little, when we were concerned about it, which I think we did again this year, one time. The problem is, you test it one day,
Yeah, it's different than
and it's different the next.
What is
So-
the state's testing procedures for the ones that they actually mess with?
So
know.
Kristen has it.
Okay.
She kind of reviewed it with me. You get the test, it's a specific
Yeah.
piece of equipment you use.
Yeah, you go in and
The way
get-
you have to dip it is specific, and then you just run it into it needs to go pretty quickly
Yeah.
into the state, and then they'll give you a read back. And yes, it can change day to day, but when you get to a point where Everett's closed because of it, it's a good time to be able to say, you know what, let's
We
do a
checked.
test.
Yeah.
At least we can say to the community, we're trying to test the best that we
And
can.
when we see, so right now, what we do is we test when we see a bloom,
Okay,
just to be sure.
I agree that we should
But I
definitely
don't,
address a policy
in all
for next year.
honesty, I don't think we did a test this year at all. I don't
I
think,
thought Kristen said she was doing one, but maybe not.
maybe, then I misunderstood it, because when we talked, there hadn't been one done this summer, and that's what led us
Last summer, there
to.
was a really bad bloom, like all through the lake.
She did indicate to me that she didn't really see any.
That may have been-
The biggest issue they've had at the lake is the geese this year. And so if you go up there, it looks really nice, because they have pinwheels all over the beach, and little ropes with flags on them to try to keep the geese. So she's
Eva
got
took
a,
We donated,
Eva took the pooper scooper.
we
From the dog
donated
yard
pooper
over to do it.
scoopers to, I mean, I was
Yeah.
up there one time and I was there for like 2 hours
Yeah.
scooping.
Yeah,
The kids-
and
the
this
kids-
is not a new issue.
I mean, they just, every time people leave,
Yeah,
They come in.
it's just,
the,
and they do a great job.
yeah, and the
I
kids,
gave them a break one day. I'm glad I don't work here. I could do this every day.
I was there today, and there was,
Truly appreciate all the staff. And
there were
all
a
the
bunch
best
of
things
them
for
up on the grass, but at least they weren't down where the pinwheels were, so. So anyways, general updates, and Dave, jump in. Overall, I think the season has gone well. I know that Kristen's had to endure a couple of bad situations. I know there was one this weekend. However, I think she handled it well. I spoke to somebody on the lake whose guest it was, and he was very supportive, very appreciative that we gave him a heads up, and he knew what the situation was before the guest came back to him. And I did end up notifying him that we did allow the boater to put his boat in the lake. So, Dave, do you have any comments or thoughts?
I mean, if we have that individual who rents those properties, maybe have him say, hey, if you're bringing a boat,
Right.
here's here's the policy
Right.
to put it in. You have to have your
Right.
registration on your
Right.
watercraft.
I think he does, to be honest. I think it was just somebody who wasn't prepared and they were,
And they're trying to get around
They
the
weren't
rules,
very
but,
nice.
I mean, just maybe reinstate it to them. They're
Well,
like, hey, look,
to your point, I did say to that individual, remember, our employees are following the RSA for the state. We're not making these rules up. The state says we have to inspect the boats, we have to look at the registration. So, if you would make sure your guests are aware of
Yeah.
that. So, to your point, Dave, absolutely, and he was very understanding. He was, I mentioned that we have young students who work there, they don't need to hear the language that's being spewed. He was apologetic, so, I think it was all around good closure to it. But it's unfortunate, even the movie night, we had somebody stop using pretty foul language because they couldn't get in to go for a swim. And, it's one night out of an entire summer. There were some negative comments on Facebook. Again, I just said, we apologize for any inconvenience, but it was one Friday night out of the entire summer to benefit the community,
And we did
so-
have some notification out
Yeah,
there, so
so,
we tried to do our due
Yeah.
diligence, and
Yeah.
that's really all we can do.
so anyways, so overall, I think that things have been going well. We had one employee who decided to step down, had some challenges for the summer personally. We offered to set up a meeting. He chose to step down for the rest of the season and spend some time with his family. Kristen was able to cover the schedule, so otherwise, I think the other employees, things have been working well. I did ask Kristen to send me what she would like. We generally post fall hours. And now that school's getting ready to start, we tend to post them on the Facebook, on the town webpage. So I'd like to read off to you, this is what Kristen is asking for. So on Sunday, August 25th, they would close at 8 PM. She does not have staff to open on Monday, August 26th. Most of the kids are going back to school or college. So our last weekday technically would be the Friday before that Sunday. So we would close to weekdays beginning Monday, August 26th. Then be open Friday, August 30th to Sunday, September 1st, from 9 to 8. She has plenty of hours to cover that, and then on Monday, it would be 9 to 6, so that's the Labor Day weekend.
The second would just be slightly different.
It would be 9
9
to
to 6,
6.
okay.
Yep, but,
I would do, 9 to 6 or 9 to 5,
Yeah.
because, everybody's back in school, so, and most of our
school,
kids
sports.
are,
so she was asking for 6, do you think it'd be better if we just said 5?
I was thinking 4, to be honest.
9 to 6, 9
Because
to
everybody's
5.
going back to school the next day. I think
Everybody-
typically we've done 4, haven't we? I don't think we've ever closed at 5, and 6 seems, I don't know, whatever we want to do.
If she wants.
If it's
she
really
said-
nice weather.
If she said 6 and that's what the boss wants, then.
We have the hours.
Okay. Then we would have, now we go to weekends after Labor Day still. So the weekend of the 7th and 8th of September, they'd be open 9 to 8 PM. The weekend of the 14th and
Or do
15th,
we wanna go to 6 on Sundays?
I really
9
think,
to, 9 to
yeah.
8 on Saturday and 9 to 6 on Sundays.
Typically.
well, so she had that weekend, the 7th and 8th, 9 to 8. Then she, on the weekend of the 14th and 15th, and the 21st and 22nd, she's asking for 10 to 6.
That's what we used to do, 10
Yep.
to 6.
So open an hour later, close 2 hours earlier. The weekend of September 14th and 15th, 21st and 22nd. And then on Saturday, September 28th, and the 29th, they would be open 10 to 4. So now we're dropping back from 6 to 4. It's getting dark out earlier. Then we go to the weekend of October 5th and 6th, they would be 10 to 4. And then we have Columbus weekend, which is the closing weekend, that they would only open 10 to 4. And then we close the park.
I'm comfortable
Does
with
that
whatever
sound
she
reasonable?
recommends.
Yeah,
So I will type these up and ask to have the fall hours be posted on the town webpage.
Do we have like a thing, like a plastic something where we post it at the park as well?
Is it posted on the
It's
bulletin board?
it's on a sandwich board.
It's, okay,
And
okay,
they do
perfect.
update, and Kristen and the staff does update that.
Okay,
So yes, it would get updated to saying closed weekdays, only open Saturday, Sunday. And
but will the actual hours also be posted there?
they'll do it for the coming. they
there's
can't
not
do it-
really
Yeah,
a
yeah,
spot,
yeah.
because when the gates
Okay.
close, you're not supposed to be in there, so.
Okay, all right.
But you know what I
And
could
then,
do to that question?
It should be here at the
I'll
town.
ask her when I type it up, if Monique can laminate it for me, and we can just tack it on the bulletin board.
I think that would be great.
Yeah.
And then, one of us, I guess I'll volunteer to post it on the, if you send it to me, I'll
Yeah.
post it on the Facebook page.
All right, perfect. Okay, that'd be good. All right, we already did the budget review, so anything else at Chase Park?
No,
Okay,
and we will have the end of the season closing stuff, so
okay, we'll need a day.
we'll need a day. We also maybe wanna start looking at,
Well, we don't need
The
a
bull-
day
the
at
bull- we-
Chase though, because the kids do it.
we wanna be looking at the buoys or the swim
Oh,
pieces,
yeah.
because they were pretty gnarly last year. We power washed everything before we put it away, all the lines, everything got power washed. But I haven't really been down there a lot this year to see how those,
Held up.
Where
how
would,
they held up.
would we be able to get a quote on if we wanted to replace them? What the cost would be?
I thought they were in pretty good shape, to be honest. I've seen them worse.
Well, we may need to replace the ropes themselves. We have to-
Maybe the
So,
ropes would be
so I
We might
think,
need to upgrade the standard.
I think, again, that's, a
We can
per-
look at them when they
Right.
come out, and we can make a decision whether we want to start pulling some of them and throwing them out. Unfortunately, to pull some off and not all of them, you gotta unstring the whole string to get them to pull off, because it's one solid piece
Yep.
from one end of the lake to the other end of the beach, from the beach all the way down to the,
I think though that that's exactly what our revolving fund is there for, and it's, the revenue comes from the lake.
Yes.
So I think as we close up the lake this year, we should identify what are the things that we might need to repair, replace, so that we could bring that back here
We can work
and
that
start
out
off
for
the
winter.
season next year with everything that they need kind of thing, so why don't we make that one of the updates on the agenda once we close,
Like an end of season.
end of season, so
Inventory,
the
I guess.
October meeting, the third week of October would be beyond the closing date, so we'll put that on the October meeting agenda. Any repairs that need to be done at the lake, we should start thinking about that.
Can we, I'm sorry, just backing up on the lake, can we approve some money for the end of season employee party? We didn't get to do one last year. In the previous years, we've been able to do them, and it's been well received, it's an appreciation party for them.
So can we get, for the September meeting,
Yeah,
what you wanna do,
Yep.
how much you think you need,
Yep.
what you're looking at? And then if we could do
Absolutely.
that, then we could approve it at the September meeting.
sure.
Anything else on Chase Park? No, all right. Bolton Playground. So, let's start with the slide. I was I went down and actually, or I've been speaking to the Mr. Bolton, who actually donated the facility, the land for the facility, really looking at that slide. And one of the things, there was two things that I was not aware of, so I was able to get a little bit of an education. First of all, there are numerous companies that do welding on that material that the slide's made of. And so he connected me with somebody in Claremont that does have the machine to do the welding. When I sent him the photos of the two bolts where it's cracked in the slide, he got back to me and he felt that because it was structural, he was concerned about welding it. However, what I didn't send him, and I hadn't really thought about, is if you really look at the structural component of that first tube, and I went down there tonight and took a bunch of pictures, the bulk of that tube is being supported by the underneath, it's bolted to the frame of the stairs underneath. Those two bolts there aren't really structural, they're just to keep it attached to the railing. The structure itself is underneath. So I'm gonna send the gentleman in Claremont some more photos and say, look, structurally, if it's being supported underneath, and this is just clipping the upper part to the handles, would you reconsider if we took it apart and delivered it to you, trying to weld it to fix it? So that's kind of where we are right now. I think I sent you, and it was late because we just got it this morning, but Primex weighed in on, they didn't say no, but they weren't real enthusiastic about us trying to have the community build something. And I think there's a pretty strong sense that that slide can be repaired, and it's maybe not as dangerous right now as we thought it was, because structurally it's being held up. So here's what I would like to recommend. I reached out to Naomi to see if Tim Burgess could meet me down there one day, along with Mr. Bolton. He'd like to come down and talk about if we can find a welding company who would just repair those cracks, to see if Tim could dismantle it so that it could be taken to a welder. It would cost us a whole lot less. And then maybe look at when we put it back on, the one thing that has shifted is one of the posts, I think through frost heaves, it's not straight up and down. But when it got reinstalled, could we straighten that post and give it a little more sound structure there? So I throw that out as everybody's thoughts. It would be a way of salvaging a very expensive replacement slide, and maybe, and even if we said to the welder, look, we'll waive any liability, you weld it and we'll put it back on. We won't hold you accountable to anything if it should crack again a year from now or whatever. I did meet the Burke representative down there last week. Showed him the two units, and just so we'd have other information, what would it cost to buy the two upper tubes? Because one is cracked, and that one I think can be welded without any issues. He was supposed to have it back to me today, and he didn't, so I don't have anything to share. He was gonna get me the cost plus shipping. I think we already know it's not gonna be cheap. So I think on the slide, what I'd like to do is continue to pursue the possible welding. Mr. Bolton is willing to continue to work with us to help us. It's a field of expertise for him a little bit, so he knows far more than I do. So if everybody's okay with that, and I think we should try to stay away from having townspeople build something because of what Primex and risk management came back with. Any thoughts on that?
That's fine.
No, I think
I'm
pursuing
in
repairs
agreement,
is a
yeah.
good idea.
Okay. Wood chip quotes.
Yes. All right. So wood chip quotes. The initial request was 134 yards of mulch, playground safe, rounded. I'm sorry, it's wood chips, not mulch. I keep saying the wrong thing. It is wood chips. I got 3 quotes, one of which is fantastic and offers us some better options. The first quote was from Lakeview. They wanted $4,500 delivered. And again, that's for the 134 yards, which would give us 12 inches around the equipment itself, but not 12-inch coverage across the entire thing, right? We basically would be 12-inch just around the equipment for falls, and then it would dive down away from the equipment. The second quote I got was from DL Daco. That is DOCKO. They wanted $5,950 delivered. The third quote I got, and I'm gonna murder this because even on the phone I couldn't get the correct pronunciation of it. I'm gonna say Cuisinart or Cuisinart.
Oh, yeah.
That's Cousineau. They are local in Henniker. They want $27.90 delivered
For how many yards?
for the 134.
Wow.
So, after talking to them, they said they will do 240 yards for $4,500 delivered. That would give us enough material to, level the entire playground
Can you tell me that number, what's the number again? that-
for
The larger load?
4,500.
45, okay.
Yeah. So we could, at their price, and they were really excited to hear from us, we could do the entire playground with 12 inches deep, give or take at the edges, for the same price as everybody else. And these quotes, I mean, I hit a couple other people up just out of curiosity. Everybody was somewhere between $4,500 and $6,000 for the 134
The one I
yards.
had was.
So, but yeah, these guys were awesome, super friendly. Everybody did say 1 week notice, just give us a heads up. This is a lot of material. I mean, from doing the playgrounds up here at the middle school, we're talking multiple 18-wheelers if we're gonna do 240 yards. Even at 134 yards, I believe we were looking at, bear with me, I thought I had the numbers down for the, so, for the 134 yards at Cousineau, they were gonna send one 120-yard trailer and then another truck of roughly 24 yards. I told them, if we're sending a whole truck, we might as well just take the whole truck and we'll pay for the extra yardage on top. So, if we go 240, we're talking 2 70-foot-long trailers dumping, which is a lot.
And they're not spreading it or anything.
Nope.
They're just putting it close
This is
by.
just dropping it. The guy said he was very familiar with the Bolton field area, felt comfortable getting the truck back in there. The closest they can get it is gonna be that parking lot.
Sandbox area.
Not even.
Can't
They
get
couldn't
there.
back up in
No.
there, you don't think?
Yeah, it's a big truck.
That's a big truck.
Okay.
He's thinking they would probably pull back down the hill, but then there's not a lot of wiggle room with that
We
long
could-
of a
we could
truck.
do
He
a
would just
quick-
have to dump it in the
We could do a
playground.
quick walk and maybe think about where the best place to dump it would be.
It's gonna be against the fence at the soccer field.
The problem that you're gonna run into is you're getting close to the start of the season.
Yeah,
So now you've got soccer and football which means that's a lot of material taking up a lot of space.
The parking, I was down there tonight, the parking lot was full, and it was, people were parked along the edge, and it was three rows wide, there was a lot of traffic down there.
So that is, absolutely, that's something we're gonna have to take into account.
When football
Well,
does their
so-
thing, it's even.
So a couple of things that I mean, we can think about, if we can give them a week, only need to give them a week's notice, maybe two. You know, do we look to rent a piece of equipment also to help us with moving it from the pile up onto?
Oh, we're gonna need, yeah.
Yeah.
No, this is like all hands on deck.
And
We're gonna need to
can-
ask for a lot of help.
Can we do this the very beginning of November? So that
As
it's-
long as there's no snow,
Which,
or
I mean,
even if there was minimal snow.
pretty much, we don't get
Do you
snow
wanna be
anymore.
out there?
I know, yeah, we have to wait till January for snow.
I'd rather spread bark mulch in November than in
Of course,
August.
this is something we can do up until snow, basically. Cause after the snow, they're not gonna wanna put their trucks down that road.
No, I know, I
And that's
just,
just from experience, we didn't have that conversation, but if we don't have snow, pretty much they can deliver and we can work. And yes, I'd rather be, well, I'm not shoveling that much mulch, but
But I think Denise is right, I think we might wanna think
So-
about renting equipment.
so let's
Yeah.
start with, what is the sense of the commission? With Matt's 3 quotes. We have 2 quotes, a 4,500 and a 5,950, that's 134 yards. And then we have the Henniker, the company from Henniker at 2,790, or we could up that to getting more yardage and doing the whole playground for 4,500, which is probably what we would spend with the other companies.
And I had $3,000 for 130 yards, so it's still cheaper to go with one of these others.
How many did they say they put on the one trail?
so give me 1 second, let me go back to this. So he had one, the 70-foot trailer was 120 yards.
So basically what you need to ask them is what would it be for 240 yards? Basically 2 trailers.
That was
That's the
4,500.
4,500.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is the well, I didn't know if at the 4,500, what he was giving us, so that.
No, that was,
Yeah,
that was
240.
2 70-foot trailers for a total of 240 yards. So we'd be getting double the material for roughly the same cost as our lowest other quote.
I did, when I was down there this weekend, after they weeded in the back, man, that bark mulch in some spots is deep. You can dig to the ground and you could put that water bottle standing up. And then you go to another spot.
It
and
floats.
So I think to your point, there are some areas that aren't gonna need much mulch, but there are other areas around the features, there's a good 12 inches that needs to be filled in.
So I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, so timing, we're talking timing, right? I guess, like, I worry about with all the cars there, there's also a lot of kids playing on that playground, and the playground isn't really actually to safety standards because of the lack of the, so I don't know if there's a way to get it there sooner and get equipment and get it down for the kids who are gonna be
If it
there,
was,
but,
if it was happening during the week when none of us are available to be there, then that's a possibility. But
So, my second question
Yeah.
after what the thoughts of the commission were on the amount, the second question was, could we get some additional information on what the thoughts are on what equipment we'd need to rent, and/or see if people could donate? But do we have a sense of, I'm gonna make this up, but, do we need 3 tractors with a bucket on it, or what do we?
I wouldn't approach it with anything less than 2 or 3 Bobcats or tractors, bucket tractors at least. at least. There's other aspects of the project that we haven't even looked at either. I mean, all we've talked about right now is chips. We haven't talked about the condition of everything underneath it as it is. Do we need to scrape it? Do we need to move stuff around? Do we need to go after those roots more? Because putting 12 inches of mulch is, or 12 mulches of chips is great for the safety, but from the other safety aspect of all that stuff growing in, we're not doing much in that sense unless we try and do something to mitigate that. So there's multiple aspects of this.
I wonder if we could put down landscape fabric and then put the chips on top of it?
We talked about that, but then I think we all kind of agreed that the weeds, a lot of the weeds there's
They will
two,
grow on top.
there's the weeds that grow within the mulch and the weeds that are growing outside the fence that are coming in under, that we're never gonna stop.
No,
You can start salting some of it though.
Huh?
we could
You can
salt.
it.
Yeah. So,
Or you take some of the bulk mulch that's there that really needs to move and you
Dump it.
dump it over the fence and use it on the outside of the fence.
Try and push the barrier back a little
And
bit.
try to put, but then again, you're running into, now you're gonna have to maintain that part of it, which is gonna get
I think
more
we
and
should
more
salt it.
expensive.
So,
Or we ask.
Let's go back
Or we
to-
ask Stockhouse what he charges to spread it.
let's go back to stop.
By the time we rent the
Oh, I know what
equipment
he'll
and
charge to spread it, you don't wanna know.
Yeah, you don't, yeah.
No.
I
already
yeah,
have that quote.
I already have an idea of what it's gonna cost to, yeah. Yeah. So, first of all,
3,000.
I think timing can be worked. I think we could, addressing it's currently not safe. I think if we had a contractor and we were going, hey, here's a $20,000 budget,
Yeah.
you can get this done next week, 2 weeks from now, no problem. They would go in the middle of the week, they'd knock it out, everything would be great. Outside of that, when you take sports into account, this is gonna have to be after season. It's gonna have to be after sports season. There's just no way, it's gonna have to be a weekend job, it's probably Friday through Sunday, and it's probably 8, 10-hour days of just constant movement of equipment, just to move the chips alone.
Well, the fence, even with a skid steer, you're not dropping the stuff where you want it.
Yeah, you're
dropping
still
it in the
manually
stages
moving,
and
yeah.
you're-
Yeah.
Yeah,
raking
especially
up.
with that, yeah, all that equipment, you're,
And we all know, for any of us who were there before with the truck, know that you're just gonna start sinking your tractors and what's there currently, so we're only gonna get to the edge of it,
which November looks better and better because now it's frozen.
yes.
So,
So,
Okay.
so one of the things we could do is put out to the community, here's what we're gonna be looking for,
that was gonna be my
manpower
next
and
request.
equipment, and see if we get anybody, and there are some businesses in the town that might be willing to donate equipment and some manpower. So that would be one thing we could do to see what kind of,
So my next request was gonna be to, if I put out a post out there on the Ware pages, we can do one on the official. I haven't accessed the official one yet, so I haven't, for Park or Ware or anything. I was gonna put it on like the We Are Ware or whatever,
Yep.
and reach out to some of my contacts about distribution. But I wanted to request that be allowed, because we're asking for quotes, we're not asking for technically donate, we're farming bids.
well, so are we looking for, so I was thinking we were looking for volunteers to donate time and equipment.
Can we
And-
do that, though?
Yeah,
Well-
we're allowed to ask for donations, we're not
So we can
allowed
ask for
to,
donations.
we're not allowed to run a fundraiser.
So we can,
And
Okay.
when that gentleman had put on Facebook, there was a landscaper. Naomi had said to me, what we did ask of him, and he never responded, was, could you give us a quote on approximately what the value of your time was gonna be? And because he was a company, please provide us with your proof of insurance. Which would be, you wouldn't be asking somebody if they said, hey, I have a tractor and I live a mile away,
Yeah.
I'd be willing to come down and help. But if a couple local businesses said, we would come down and help, and we would bring a piece of equipment, then I think we would want to ask them, could you estimate what the value of that is? Because it would be given as a donation. And then we might just say, do you have a certificate of insurance that covers your business? So everybody's on the safe side. But also, I was thinking, are there community members who maybe live in the area or have the ability to get a Bobcat or a skid steer or something over there and would be willing to donate? I know that the individual who was down there doing the weeding group had said to me, if you need manpower, to let her know, she would try to post another event for spreading bark mulch. You know, we could talk about maybe making it, you know, how do you make it a community event, hot chocolate and, you know, whatever, but we could do that when we got to that. So, I mean, I think now we at least know we have a solid number. It's a number that we can cover through the revolving account. To your point, Shelby, it's a safety thing. We don't want to go into another season without it. If we could, Matt, if you could post those things and bring back next month, what kind of information? I think even if there's anybody listening to this meeting tonight, to reach out to us through our park email, I think we try to gather that to see at least what we could do to.
And make sure that the local place will still have that,
It's all in-house.
like, they'll have 240 yards
Oh, yeah.
in November? Okay,
He'll have it. It's
Okay,
all
all
in-house,
right.
it's all his stuff, he
good,
does
good,
it. It's-
awesome.
Yeah, that's why he was like,
Perfect.
just give me a small heads up, and I'm like,
Okay.
oh,
So
we'll
very
definitely let
good.
you know.
More, just because you're coming to.
Yeah, yeah.
Did we
Yeah,
want
yeah.
to at least make a motion tonight to accept one of the bids? And
I think, well, if it's coming from the revolving account, we just have to.
we'll have to go to the
We'll have
board
to
with
go to the
it.
Board of Selectmen and say, here's what we wanna do, and, you know, we're still working on it, but, hey, can we secure this much of the money? But we're still gonna need to figure out how we're gonna spread this.
But are we inclined then to go with the local company, the Hennecker Company?
Yes.
And go for the additional bark mulch? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes.
So what I can do, because I have to take our membership to the board, I can do this at the same time
Okay,
and let them know, I'll try to do it before the next meeting to get their feedback, but let them know what we're looking to spend from the revolving account, what the challenges are, see if they have any additional thoughts on what could be done. And then I think, again, we'll come back to try to solidify our plan at our September meeting. Does that make sense?
yes.
I'll see what I can do on
Okay.
the distribution of it.
Okay. All right. Anything else on the wood chips? I think we.
No, just thank you, everybody,
Yeah.
for your hard
course.
work in getting those quotes
Yeah,
and everything.
For sure, Matt, thank you for doing that. And that's great news, too.
Yes.
We talked about the weeding already. The new windows are being cut, so we ordered, based on our motion at the last meeting, we ordered 2 windows that will give us 1 window to replace the broken one and 1 spare in the closet. I asked Naomi if Tim, when they come in, could go down and drill the current one out, because it will all the rest of them have required that. Put the new one in and actually replace the bubble. So we have a new bubble in the shed. We've just never gotten up there to replace the one. Then everything would be replaced
Okay.
on that piece of equipment. I spoke to Tim and he was like, oh, no problem, I have all the equipment to drill it out, I'll get new bolts, we'll put it in. So he seemed to know exactly what needed to be done. So
cool.
what I was hoping was, once those windows came in, we could meet down there, at the same time meet with Mr. Bolton and look at the slide and just sort of get a whole plan together for those 2 things. So hopefully the windows will be in soon. The sandbox, again, we just clarified, we're not gonna address that till next year. I did reach out to, WAC about the removal of the batting cage. I thought it was gonna get removed. I thought Inison was too. I thought it had been removed, but I was mistaken. So I reached out to WAC and asked when both batting cages would be removed. we can't mow back there. It looks terrible, but until those batting cages, they really need to come down after baseball.
They were, yeah, they had
And I
told
think
us that they
they
were gonna
told
tear
us
them
they
down.
were, so I
Yeah.
did reach out to Mike and said, can we please get some commitment to getting those out of there? The landscape folks have done a great job at Inison keeping the weeds and grass down around the batting cage, but at Inison, but at Bolton, it's
Yeah,
a mess
it's
back
lot,
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was a response just right before our meeting started that, from the softball director saying they would try to get the Inison one down this week.
Great.
So,
And there was an email, I think there was some conflict between football and soccer. I went back to the minutes and sent them what we had approved, so football knows that they have to yield to soccer come the start of the season, I think, which is next week, so hopefully they've worked that all out.
Yeah.
I think both fields down there look good, so I think that's doing well. The other thing I wanted to bring up, and I was hoping that James would be here tonight, but one side of the road down there has washed out again, so when you come down in, they repaired it last year and it looked better, but these last 2 rainstorms we've had, there is a pretty significant,
Bolton?
at
Yeah.
Bolton.
Yeah, that cut got worse.
It's,
Yeah.
it's worse, so I was gonna see if it was all right if we reach out, through Naomi, I would reach out to DPW and see if they could come in. They did they were supposed to repair the drainage, so this wouldn't continue to happen. On one side, it's been great,
Yeah, it's
but this
the-
side, the other side, the side closest to the playground, is not real safe right now.
It's coming down from the trailer
Message
area.
Naomi, or do you? are you gonna
Usually
touch
after
it?
this meeting, I send her a whole
Okay.
email full of what we're hoping for or need. So that, I think that completes everything at Bolton. Anything else that anybody can think of for there?
No?
no.
Okay.
Good.
I'm gonna just pause the landscape, I'll come back to that, let's stay on the fields. So Purington Field, we did get clarification that Starkhouse will go down and clean up that fence.
They
I think
did.
you did it.
They
Okay.
did. The facing side has been cleared back. They did not do anything on the further side, but I assume they'll probably go back to it. That was a lot of work just getting the facing side clear, so. But they did go down and do some work on it.
Okay, and I did drive down there the other day, and it looked like the town, Jason crew filled
They
the
did fill the hole.
the pothole, so I think all the things that we needed done at Purington Field are done at this point. Anything anybody wants to bring up on Purington?
No, I'm good on Puritan.
Inison, just a couple, we talked about the electric and power and the batting cage already there. The other item I asked if we could use Tim for is, we need a repair of the lock on the door to the building that has the pump system in it. The old lock needs to come off and a new one put in, and so I asked if he could help us with that.
Thank you.
Maybe go down and look at it and
Yeah,
purchase a different type of lock
Sure.
and get that building locked up. The other building right beside it, Lisa, is there anything in that?
nope, that's the old snack shack, it's not being
And
used.
so there's nothing inside of it at all?
No, there's
I mean, not for now, but maybe in the future, is there looking at getting rid of it?
I
It's
think
looking
something-
pretty,
I think it's something to talk about in the
It's
winter, and we don't have
looking-
a lot
yeah.
else going on.
all right. Anything else that anybody wants to bring up at Inison? Any skate park updates?
I think it looks awesome. I'm glad the sign is up, so thank you for that. The work on the ramps is good, so thank you.
Oh, signs, back up to Bolton for a second. In the shed is the original sign for who donated that park. It's a big sign.
Okay,
If we do the mulch and
we need to,
we probably should take that sign out of the shed
yeah,
and get it hung back up. The other thing, I was gonna try to go down, the Burke representative who went down to look at the slide with me, said if we used a power washer and gently wash the features, he said they would look 100% better.
The features.
You know, like the yellow gym.
Oh, just clean the
Yeah.
equipment down with power washer, yeah.
So I was thinking I might try to get down there with one and also try to power wash the bricks, the donation
Okay.
bricks, because they would look better. That maybe that's something we should do before we get the mulch laid down, is try to get it power washed. So I was gonna try.
Do you
take
think
a
we
shot.
could run 2 power washers off of that, same time?
Maybe, I don't
I've
know.
got one.
Yeah,
Might be able to pull
I just thought, it wouldn't take that long and get it cleaned up and
Just
then,
getting power and water
well,
up to that.
it's,
We've got water.
in the
You got water
shed
right
is
there?
water
Oh,
and
okay.
power right there, so I think we can try to get that power washed.
Yeah, and I have a gas one, so.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, I didn't mean to back up, but when you mentioned, sign, we should,
I'll
Think
look
that-
into that.
yeah, we should put
The
that sign back
sign,
up.
I think, might have
It's huge.
originally been, there were posts somewhere. Are there still posts there?
We'd have to
I'm trying to
look.
think if it was on posts or if it was up on the shed.
Oh, I don't know, we wouldn't wanna put it on the shed.
The shed needs to go.
Actually, Tim talked about wanting to get his hands on the shed. Again, we'd have to go through Naomi with that, but,
We had a new roof recently, so if we
but,
could
you know,
get-
new doors and a paint job would
Would be
be
great.
nice. But, again, we could talk about that in the winter.
I feel like I remember the sign being on posts from like,
Years ago.
Yeah.
yeah, like 15 years ago.
All right, tennis courts, nothing huge. We need a new sign. You know the sign that's on the door that says to call the number here?
Yeah.
It was 2 years old. It was made of cardboard.
Oh, it's made of that little,
That
the
corrugated.
plastic cardboard.
Yeah, can we get a better sign that would
We
last?
can get one made of metal.
Can we do that? The exact, so this, I left the sign sitting, tucked into the fence,
Yep,
because you have to for people to be able to get in.
yeah,
But could you take a look at it
Yeah.
and see if we could get a new sign?
yep. So same sign but on metal.
Yeah,
Speaking of the tennis courts, we still do have 4 benches that are sitting at the lake that have not been installed, and really, there's no place to really put them. Do we wanna put those over to the tennis courts?
I think we
For the end
should,
of this
yeah.
year, for the end of this year, and then, obviously, we probably want to take them back, and I don't know how much space, we have to wait and see what we're doing with cause last year we put in one whole side, we filled with the buoys and all of the other stuff. So whether we put, they were stored, the benches were stored in one of the bathrooms at Chase for the winter, so that's where they were stored.
I thought I remembered us talking about putting the extra benches at Bolton soccer fields.
We're gonna put them there's 4 left. We tried to use as many as we could at the lake. There's 4 left and we decided to put them on the tennis courts.
Oh, okay.
I think we said that after tennis courts,
That would
if
be-
there were remainders.
Okay,
Yes, we did talk about a bunch of different
Okay.
areas.
But for soccer, unfortunately, they'd be fine for like parents to sit on, but for the kids to sit on, there are 2, maybe 3 people, you might be able to get the little kids, you may
Okay.
be able to get 3 or 4 little kids on that, but that's.
okay.
And then,
All right.
if you
So
put it out in the middle
so
for
tennis.
soccer.
I just
unfortunately-
I guess I didn't remember what.
I
our
can
prior
tell you at the
discussion was.
tennis courts, there's one small bench that needs to go to the dump. It's pretty rotted. The 2 remaining benches that were donated by an individual, they need new paint, and the paint's actually down there in the equipment locker. But people move the benches a lot, so if we could get a few more benches down there.
Great.
Then they wouldn't have to keep moving
Yeah.
benches around.
Super.
So I think they would come in use there, and generally, if people are playing tennis, it's 2 people.
Yeah,
Pickleball, it's 4 per court, so I think those smaller benches would work okay.
perfect.
Down there.
Denise, would you mind, when you're at the tennis courts next time, just taking a picture of that sign?
Yeah.
Because I have my next several days are like their doc.
Yeah, yeah.
I've gotta be in Boston for.
I'll take a picture of it and send it to you. Brown did it too, she might have it, I don't know where you get the metal
Do you
one
wanna,
from.
we'll link up on the chat or email about trying to get something
because so
arranged to
she
move
did
those
that
4
sign,
benches up
she
to the
might
tennis
already
courts.
Have, she might have.
The wording,
Over there,
Just in case.
yes.
pack my
The
cup
first
up there
time I
and
had her do it.
unhook 'em and
remember you were gone from-
All right.
roll bids.
had
Cause I go
it
back
already
and forth
done.
between the park and.
I'll take a picture. All right, anything else? All right, fall, I just put fall sports update. I think we got things squared away with football. Large numbers, based on that email,
Yeah,
both
there's like a
soccer and, soccer and football are experiencing huge numbers of participants. So, I mean, again, over the winter, as we start to talk about strategic plan, new fields, whatever, I think the growth of some of these sports is showing us that we're gonna need more.
Yeah, we need to be mindful of the fields
yeah.
this year, cause, yeah.
See how they're going, cause
Did-
we have had to shut fields down before.
So the landscape contract, we went over it at the last meeting. Did anybody have an opportunity to add anything, or what we discussed at the last meeting? Can I,
Well, the only thing I had was Chase Park,
yep,
it's spring and fall maintenance, it needs to be done prior to the weekend before Memorial Day. So it needs to be done by the Friday, the weekend before Memorial Day.
But the thing is,
Because that.
they're in that pinch of doing everything with weather, and they were just getting started
Right.
off, so like this year, he had no time to get in there.
Right.
'Cause I know he was there
If-
while we were
We're just saying, hey, we need that one done.
Ideally,
because
yeah.
Ideally, we're sending all of our people in there, and we were working on top of each other last year, so it's just something, hey, can we, if they can set it up so they can do it. The other thing I noticed, and I still have regular maintenance care from July 15th to August 15th, that doesn't make sense to me. You're not gonna mow for May and June, I don't know if that was a typo or what, but,
Yeah, they don't technically start till April
so
15th.
I think that,
so I would think April, we wanna have that April
Yeah.
15th through, I just didn't like the July 15th to August 15th, and August 15th.
I think to go back to the Chase Park thing, this is going out to bid, and so the whole point of this is that the company commits.
Yeah.
That we will meet your needs for prior to Memorial Day. If there's a company who doesn't have the staff and isn't sure that they can, that's gonna be part of the bid process.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, it just,
Yeah,
it's for,
yeah,
it's, I mean,
agreed.
I understand weather, and I understand all of that, and things happen.
And I-
Snow and all of that,
Yeah.
but if we could, I mean.
And we added Chase Park to take care of the lawn, fertilizing and liming the lawn area so that down by the water, so.
Because we ended up, I went and got all of the stuff, and then Kristen had the kids do it, because they had time. to
So
do
we
it.
will add that in, and then we're gonna expand what they're doing at Bolton, particularly around the playground, away from the fence.
Can we make that same request for the
For
fence line at Purington?
Purington, okay, yep,
Yeah, like 6 foot
Right.
back or something.
okay.
Well,
So
I
I'm,
don't know where the property line is.
I know,
So
I
that-
have no idea.
That's what we have to be careful of,
a good
is
question.
where's the property line,
Good question.
on the other side of the fence. It may not be our property,
Yeah.
which means you can't really,
Yeah, we got in trouble for that at Bolton. We had volunteers that went down and cleared, and they were well within there, but the neighbors got very upset.
yeah. Cause, I mean, we also, at Bolton, they went a little crazy with their bushwhacker, and
Well, no,
then they ruined the sprinklers.
Oh, yeah, well, that
yeah,
was a.
all right, so, if you think of anything else, probably within the next week, I will be sending all the final requests to Naomi to go into the bid.
Okay.
So if you think of anything, let me know.
Okay.
Senior barbecue, so I'm still holding out hope that we can do this, but I happen to be coming out of the tennis courts,
Okay.
and Mr. McLean
Oh,
was
good.
coming out of the Legion. So I rolled my window
So you're there on
down.
Thursday?
I don't know what day it was, but it was pretty early in the day.
Yeah, he hasn't returned my phone call.
Anyways,
I don't get any responses.
he So he indicated that the Legion does not do that catering type of service anymore.
Okay.
He said that maybe the sons of the veterans would, and his son was the head of it. I gave him my phone number, said, could you have him call me? I have not heard from him, so I'm gonna
Okay.
assume they didn't.
Yeah.
However, I happened to run into somebody here at the town hall, so Mama on the Run, you see
Oh, yeah,
see that, they live right here in the center, so you see the truck. I reached out to them, and they are willing to cater hamburger, hot dogs, chip salad, dessert. So, I got a quote, I asked them, I told them what we were looking to do, that it was for seniors. We were looking, they would come up, I think, with the truck, that we were looking, that each senior would get a hamburger and a hot dog,
Yep,
a bag of chips,
Yep.
maybe a pasta salad, and a light dessert. We
Okay.
would provide the water. They quoted me $14.99 per person,
and that burger and dog, or burger or dog?
and, because
Burger and.
I'm not gonna try to get
Yeah, we don't need
Yeah,
counts.
no.
ahead of
Yeah.
time. She indicated they gave us a little bit of a discount because we're doing a senior,
14, how much?
$14.99 per person.
So I wonder if we should also ask Tabitha with the trolley to do something? Or why are you laughing?
She is so overwhelmed right now.
She's
so I don't find-
overbooked, yeah.
Here's where I'm at. We had originally said to the seniors we'd do it in August, and here we are, it's August 12th.
We heard that, yeah.
I did go back to the seniors and said, we've had such a hot summer, I'm not sure bringing you to the lake in this heat is a good idea. How about moving it to September? And they all seemed okay with it. But, so now we're up against, so I had asked this Mama on the Run if they could do August 31st. Again, not sure whether, I was trying to look,
That's Labor Day weekend, that's gonna be like the last big hurrah. for
well, they
for
can't do it
everybody.
anyways.
Yeah.
So, and then from that point on, the park is closed during the week, because we had talked about midweek bringing them up at lunchtime. So we have, our only options left is to pick a Saturday,
Yep.
try to do it around noon time. Can we get a few folks from the commission willing to volunteer to help out? Or we don't do it because we're running out
$14.99 a
of time.
person is not bad,
No.
and we can, yeah.
So I went up today and counted the picnic tables. So there are 8 picnic tables that I think are viable for us to use, 6 people per table approximately. So let's say 50. We had set the limit when we did the holiday meal at 40. So say we said 50, at $14.99 is well within our budget.
Yeah.
All we'd have to provide is water, probably, and maybe try to get our hands on a couple of easy ups, because the pavilion won't hold all the tables, but we could put easy ups right beside it and get the tables in. If they were willing to come in with their truck, we're just there really as greeters.
Organizers.
We can serve.
Hands in Hand indicated they had somebody, a member who would be willing to come up and play an instrument and do some singing, and it's really just a way to get the seniors out. What we would do is try to handle it the same way as the holiday. We'd ask the library to leave tickets there, because it's free. At the holiday meal, it was first come, first serve. So when 50 tickets ran out, 50 tickets ran out. We didn't run out, but, and then we had tickets, we gave tickets to the Warerites and tickets to the Hands in Hands to distribute. So I'm throwing it out, can we pull this off, or are we not?
I think we really should do it.
We
Yeah.
either need, I think we just need to commit if we're gonna do it and just say, this is the weekend that works for everybody, and then we just make the rest of the pieces happen. If we already have somebody who said they're willing to do it, they're willing to do it for a price,
Do you have a weekend that would, or Saturday that would work for her?
Well, so she came back to me, because I'd asked her about the 31st, they're gonna be at SNU, so she can't do it. For some reason, I think I asked her, about possibly the 7th, and they weren't, so I was looking at the 14th of September. You know, then you might be getting into the fall weather, maybe a little bit of color at the lake, I don't
Yeah, it
know.
might be nicer.
And so I guess I would throw out to you guys, if folks, I really would like to see 3 or 4 of us commit to.
I can be there from any time up until 2:30.
Okay.
I can commit.
Okay.
Then I might have to be leaving to coach a soccer game.
Okay, well, so even if we started it at 12, I don't think the seniors are gonna be there a super long time. It's like the holiday meal, a couple hours, and I think they were gone. I can commit to the 14th also to be able to be there.
I just look at my calendar.
Yeah,
I would say tentatively.
so what we would need to do here today is really vote to do this.
All right, so
We
let's,
would need a motion to go ahead and secure on the run, up to asking them to provide a meal for up to 50 people, maybe? We might not get 50, but we
wanna say
wouldn't
just-
exceed 50.
okay, on the run to provide, I just want to write this down, to provide meals for a senior,
So that's $750, that's half the
well within the
budget.
budget, right, yeah. For a senior meal at the lake.
And we might have to spend a little bit more to pick up a couple cases of water.
Here on the run, food truck. To provide meals for a senior, provide food for a senior meal at the lake, i.e. Chase Park.
We would work with Kristen to, I mean, they'd get in for free,
Yeah.
obviously. They're seniors anyway, so we wouldn't make them stop and get much of a ticket. We'd have them just show their ticket for the meal.
On 14 September.
This,
Or should I put on or about
it-
mid-September?
I would say we have to shoot for the 14th, because short of Mama on the Run saying no,
Yep,
I've got to go to the seniors groups.
Yeah.
I've got to talk to the library, I got to get tickets made. I'll make the tickets
can we
the
just
same.
say it's just in September?
We
That
can.
gives us 3
yeah,
weekends to
yeah.
play with?
Okay.
Okay. All right. So I'm thinking secure on the run, food truck to provide
So it's Mama on the Run.
Mama on the run, I'm sorry.
It's Mama on the Run, isn't
And
it?
To provide food for a senior meal at the lake at Chase Park in September. To provide food for 50, right?
Yeah, not to exceed 50.
Not to exceed 50 plates. 50 plates, and the rough idea on that budget was
For
50.
$750, I would say, in case we have to buy water and stuff, let's say $800.
Just take it up to 850.
Okay,
just
that's fine, not to
all-
exceed.
Yeah, not to exceed 850.
I will talk to Jen about what would be the drop dead date of giving her the final number.
Okay.
And if it rained, well, we either do it in the rain or I don't think we can cancel it because we'd still be committed
We would
to
have
the food.
yeah.
We'd have to do
We'd
something
probably just
else.
have to do it.
I might even talk to Hands and Hands to see if they could accommodate bringing people in there if need be. Something, all right, so,
Okay,
do you want to
so-
read that off?
Okay, yeah. So, before I make the motion, I'm gonna read tentative to make sure that we're all on the same page. To secure Mama on the Run food truck to provide food for a senior meal at the lake, Chase Park, in September, not to exceed 50 plates at a rough excuse me, hold on. For 50 plates, not to exceed $850.
Should we be doing some sort of dessert, sorry?
They're going to provide the dessert for that amount of money.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I asked them for a light dessert. And what I did the last time for the holiday meal, I have a ton of to-go containers at home. I brought those, if the seniors can eat the hamburger, not the hot dog, and they want to take it home. We've
Perfect.
provided them to-go containers for their holiday meal if they couldn't eat everything.
That's great.
So,
All right. I will make a motion to secure Mama on the Run food truck to provide food for a senior meal at the lake, Chase Park, in September for 50 plates, not to exceed $850.
I will second that.
so we have a motion made by Matt, seconded by Shelby. Any discussion, further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed or abstain? The motion passes.
So I just checked, that's what I was doing on the phone, trying to check. I have a really intense training that I'm doing. I can't remember whether I signed up for the weeknights or the Saturday training, so if it's a Saturday, I won't be able to
All
do
right,
it.
even if there's a couple of us, the holiday meal was a little bit, we had a couple and it at least helps.
And
I'll talk to Scouts again. See
Okay.
if I can get server kind of stuff.
Kristen may not be there on the 14th. She's gonna be with my daughter in South Carolina for,
I think, again,
that's
I know I can be there
I
Yeah.
And it's
can
okay if
be there.
Kristen's not there yet.
and we can help out at the gatehouse and make sure it all goes smooth.
Yeah, I just
And
have
we'll,
to leave by 2:30.
again, you know, if it's not real busy, maybe some of the employees can help us move picnic tables and,
Oh, yeah, they can get that ready the
Yeah.
weekend before.
yeah, so that, you know, we're good to go.
Yep.
All right,
All right.
anything more on the senior barbecue?
No.
James isn't here, so I think, other than Lisa wanting to go into a quick non-public, any other items before us tonight? Remember, next month, it will be the third Tuesday. I'll get stuff out ahead of time.
Okay.
I hope you find that helpful and not annoying, but,
No.
that I
think
send so
that's-
many emails.
No, I'd rather have more communication than
That's the non-public RSA.
So I think somebody has to make a motion
to close.
that we're looking to make a motion to end our meeting, and then a motion to go into non-public under RSA 91-A:(C3).
I make a motion to adjourn our public meeting and go into private per RSA 91-A:(C3).
And we will not come back into,
And we will not come back into public. And that is adjourning at 9:25.
okay, all those in favor? Oh, wait a minute, we
I'll
need a
second
second.
it.
Matt, second it? All right. Motion to go into, to adjourn the meeting and go into non-public. All in favor?
Aye.
I think we have to go around the room, right? Dave?
Oh,
I,
Shelby?
aye.
Matt?
Aye.
Lisa? Aye. Denise? Aye. All right, so we adjourn.
So we
so
have
you
to
gotta shut
close
up.
off
Matt,
the,
shut up,
And we'll,
and
we appreciate you coming. We'll have to,
yes, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
and
And the hard effort here.
Kyle, I'll get you an email about what night.
Yeah,
The
Naomi
board,
reached out to me at the select board.
yeah,
and-
it's always on a Monday night, so we'll reach out. I might try to get to next Monday's meeting to get the approval, so it may be the following Monday.
Sounds
All
good.
right, perfect. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much.
Yep. Now I might have to shut the window because I'm cold.
I turned the air conditioner.
I put my
Sorry, I
long
was-
sleeves
I
on.
didn't bring one.